What's going on, everyone? So, Zion Williamson was voted by ESPN as the most likely kind of next star to request a trade. That he is the one that is most likely to ask out of the New Orleans Pelicans. And in all honesty, that's probably correct. Like, that's probably a fair assessment. I mean, for years, we've known Zion does not want to be in New Orleans. He's not a fan of being in New Orleans. New Orleans kind of isn't really a fan of Zion either, but they kind of, he's like their superstar and you don't really want to get off of him. They also worked out his contract, which I want to get into here in a moment, where they basically every year it's non-guaranteed unless he like meets requirements and stuff. So it just feels like one of those players that's with the team that just feels like it's an inevitability. It's a matter of when, not if, Zion ends up getting traded or just leaves the organization or whatever, right? That, does anyone really think Zion's retiring a Pelican? I don't think so. Does anyone even think the Pelicans would want Zion to retire a Pelican? Probably not, especially with kind of the young core and the young players that they have. Zion is still incredibly young. He's 25, right? Like, for as crazy of a roller coaster of a career that he has had, he's still 25 years old. Now, contract-wise, right? Getting into the contracts, he's making $39.4 million this year, $42.1 million next year, and then $44.8 million, so just under $45 million the final year of his deal. So he still has 3 years counting this year, but like I mentioned, every year is a non-guaranteed. So any trade or any team that would trade for him would have a get out of jail free card if they needed to. And especially that last year, if it's kind of not working out, you could always just kind of take him and unload him as like an expiring contract, especially with the new CBA. And we're seeing how important, significant some of those are, right? You look at kind of this Spurs team and it's like, what's the one position that you could make an argument for that they really could use to fill as the starter long term? And it's the power forward position where Zion would be best in that spot. And I mean, having Zion alongside Victor Wembanyama would be ridiculous. I mean, you have the potential of having the best front court in all of basketball. Zion has every bit of top 5 player potential, every bit of it. Right? Problem is he just can't get out of his own way. He's not willing to work and do the health and stuff. But like when he plays, the guy is unbelievable. I mean, even in like, overweight, out of shape, just total disaster, Zion was still 25.7 rebounds and 5 assists on 57% from the floor. Like the guy is just, when he plays, he's giving you everything. I mean, he's stuffing the stat sheets. He can play defense. He can block shots, right? He can give you the highlights. He can be that lob threat. I mean, especially with Wemby wanting to stretch the floor and kind of spread out and shoot it more outside on the 3. Be nice to kind of have a Zion who could, operate on the inside in the post. You could run small ball 5s with him at the 5 spot. He can get up there and, be that lob threat. De'Aaron Fox can kind of create that dribble penetration and have that outlet. There's just so many things that you could do with the Zion Williamson. And I don't think he would be expensive to trade for. I really don't. Like, at some point, the Spurs are going to have to consolidate guys. They're just going to have to, right? They have too many guys that you're going to have to pay at some point that, you got too many guys that are playing the same position, particularly the guard position. At some point, you're going to have to, whether it is a Stephon Castle or it's a Devin Vassell or it's a Keldon Johnson or whatever, at some point, you're going to have to package guys. If you could you want to wait and see. So I'm not saying, it's not something I'd necessarily do right now. I wouldn't hate it if they did it, but it's not something I'd necessarily do right now. But say we get to the trade deadline and Zion's a little itchy and he doesn't really want to be there, but he's been healthy and he's, looking good and he's having a good season. And, it's kind of clear, okay, Devin Vassell, he's the guy out. Jeremy Sohan, he's the guy out. Whatever, right? Or, again, maybe it's Castle or whatever. Right? It's just okay, we clearly have these 3 guys, whoever those guys are, that we can do without. Should we package them together, take a flyer on Zion? If it doesn't work out, especially if we can get them cheap, because I'm not giving up a bunch of firsts and all this other. I'm not. Right? Any team that trades from, you're taking a flyer on him. Yes, he's still young. Just turned 25, by the way, in July. So he's very young. But again, he's still very risky. And you don't know how long you're going to have him for, right? But I do think if he goes to the right organization with the right infrastructure right? With the right just mentality and mind. Sometimes you just are in you just want to get out, right? Like we've seen players be in one place, go to another, and just like it's like, where was this? how come he wasn't this when he was with us, right? Like, and you get guys that are more about it, like Luka with the Lakers. Luka's out of shape, overweight, all this stuff. Goes to the Lakers. He's in this organization, and I don't even think it's a Laker thing. I think it's just the motivation thing. It's the factor thing. It's like, oh, I'm going to show you, right? Maybe you could get something similar with Zion. Right? Instead of selling the farm for a Giannis or something like that, to take a flyer on a guy like a Zion. Obviously, a Giannis would be more impactful, but Giannis also, he's your best player. Even with Wemby. Now, maybe this year Wemby is clear-cut the best player in the league. Who knows? But based on what we saw last year, Wemby's still very good. You know, he's top 10 player, right? Top 10, 12 range at worst, right? But I think you can make an argument top 10 player. If he moves in that top 7, 5 range, right, then, but still, you know, Giannis is used to being the guy. De'Aaron Fox would be the guy with the ball in his hands. Victor Wembanyama, is he now the third guy? Like, how do you properly structure that? Where Zion, I think, you know, Wemby would be your best player. Zion's coming in. He's coming in this new team. He's like, hey, you know, like he's got a lot to prove for himself and stuff. And I also think Zion would be kind of more willing to kind of buy in. And, you know, again, if he's healthy, he gives you everything you're looking for and then some. The defense, the versatility, the athleticism, the you know, he can even shoot the basket. He's not great, definitely something he needs to work on, but he can shoot the three ball and has shown the ability to shoot the three ball. He just hasn't had a ton of volume, right? So the most he's ever taken in a season is 0.7 attempts, so just under one attempt, but he was 37%. He had a season, his rookie season, he was 43% on just under one attempt per game. He's basically a half attempt a game guy. He's taking shots, 3-point shots randomly and periodically. So if maybe you could kind of lock that in. He's a career 33% guy, but it's because last year was abysmal for him. He was 23.1% from 3-point range, but it was on the second fewest attempts, on 0.4. So he didn't even take half of attempt. So he literally just was like shooting threes randomly. You know, again, I'm not into saying that I want to turn him into like, you know, have him take 8 to 10 threes a game, but the ability that he can stretch out to the floor, knock down the occasional three. You know, if you bump that up to 2 threes a game, right? To where, you know, he's, instead of like half an attempt, he's taking 2 attempts a game, kind of giving you that. I don't hate it. I think you got to get out of jail free card. I think he's young and fits the core and foundation. If he buys in and you can get him unlocked and focused, which I do think the Spurs have the infrastructure, have the organization, have the kind of pieces around, I think he would respect Pop in this organization and stuff like that. You'd be playing rather than the lottery every year, you'd be playing for a team that's trying to win an NBA championship with one of, if not the best players in the league. Right? I just think that there's a lot of benefits that Zion might buy into on a team like the San Antonio Spurs. Again, it boils down to cost. If essentially you're just doing like player swaps or something, or, you know, you do have like a huge treasure trove of picks, so maybe you're throwing in like one of your least favorable firsts, right? It's like, here, fine, here's that, leave us alone, give us Zion. I don't mind. It doesn't hurt, like, calculated risk. It doesn't hurt to take risks and take chances, especially when you have a way to get out. Right? If he had full guarantees every year, I wouldn't even be talking about it. I wouldn't even make a video about it. It'd be like, don't even think about it. But the fact that you can get out of it at any point and at worst clear $46 million off your books as you're starting to have to pay everybody, like, that might not be a bad thing to have. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.